Hey guys, this is Dr. J. Siddiqui here. I wanted to share with you, I just got the X-Guide navigation system. You can dynamically navigate implants during your surgery. Essentially what it is it has a tracker that that you keep in the mouth, and you're able to track where you are in the bone. So I'm going to show you this case I did just after the trainer left. It's a mini implant on number 24. And so we had the patient come in, we took a CT scan, we loaded it in the X-Guide's planning software. It uses AI software to automatically draw a panoramic curve. It is also going to do segmentation of the teeth and the bone. And so it's very simple. What we do is we place the crown first where we want it on the pan, and you can see that's what I'm doing here. So we'll place the crown right about where it's supposed to be. We'll position it a little bit better, and then we'll add the implant in. And I'm going to use a 3 millimeter by 10 millimeter mini implant in that area. You can see how thin the bone is, and you wouldn't necessarily want to do this freehand. And by the way, I had the patient come in before during healing phase. This is the first time we took this CT scan. Right when the patient came in, and we're planning it with the patient in the chair. While I'm doing this, my assistant is setting up the X-clip on my patient and calibrating the machine. And so this takes me about 5 minutes to plan, and then we're ready to go in terms of doing the surgery. And so the entire appointment from start to finish when the patient came in was about 45 minutes. And so you can see here I'm adding the implant where the crown is. I'm going to reposition the implant in the software. And you can see me doing that there. And it is very tight in terms of the bone, so. And what I should have done in terms of this planning, I did it, I'm showing you when I did it after the surgery, but I should have made the taper down to 2 at the bottom of the implant. So I got the implant placed right about there. It's about coming out of the cingulum right there. Wanted to get it a little bit deeper, but I didn't want to go too deep. And you can see as I'm rotating, I'm making sure I'm not in any of the root surfaces, because you can see they're kind of tilted almost, the teeth. And so doing this freehand, if I were to have gone straight down, I probably would have hit one of the roots. So I'm just checking here, making sure that, I'm good clearance everywhere around it. And then what I'll do is I'll actually create these points for what's called X mark. And what X mark is it's basically using the points on the CT scan of the teeth. And then what I do is once I place the X clip in the patient's mouth, I use this tool that the X-Guide is tracking, and I place it on those 3 points in the patient's mouth to correlate it with the CT scan. So that way we know we're accurate in terms of placing the implants. So this is a very quick process. Entire time took me about 5 minutes to plan this, if you check the timer on this. So I got my 3 points. I want to make sure it's not going to be where I'm placing my clip either. And you can see the spread quality up there says 11, so that means it's good. And so then I got it planned, and then I can go straight to the guide software and then do the X mark points. And I'll also refine the points as well, just to make sure. Just checking, making sure I'm happy with the points. You want to kind of spread them out, cervical to incisal, and also anterior to posterior. So now we got the surgery going on. I sped it up 2 times speed, so that way it wouldn't bore you guys. So right now I'm just getting the area numb, just using Septicaine local infiltration. I'm even just going to go straight through the tissue for this implant. No tissue punch, no flap, and I'll show you the end result. So right now I'm positioning the clip that my assistant had taken before, and as you can see there's the tracker arm on it, and that's how we know where we are in the mouth. And then this is the X mark system that I'm using to get the position points of where I had selected in the software. So I'm getting the first position point, then I'll get the second on the molar there, and then I'll also get it on the other incisor, which is very close to the X clip. So what I do is I do refinement where I paint the surface of one of the teeth to say, hey, this is where the tooth should be in correlation to that. So I'll do it based on the the occlusal and the buccal surfaces of a couple different teeth, and that'll just refine it to know exactly where I am in terms of the bone. And so what I do is I just take the hand piece, I measure the length of the drill so that way the software knows, hey, this is the length of the drill, this is where I am in position of the depth. And I'll just go and I'll place the pilot drill exactly where I need to have it on the screen. And the entire time I'm just looking at the screen and I'm doing some rotational movements to make sure I'm in the right direction in terms of doing the drill. And again, I'm just looking at the screen at this point. I'm not looking in the patient's mouth. That's my assistant's job to make sure everything's okay. And I'll just keep drilling until I see that I'm at the depth that I want. And so you can see I'm just going straight down using my other hand to make sure I'm not turning or getting off position. And so this is a 3.0 millimeter implant, so I'm going to just go up to, I believe, 2.5 for this. So I did the pilot drill. I'll do the 2 millimeter mark, just making sure with I would think that's my 2.0. It might be my pilot that I'm verifying, but either way, just a couple drills, and then I'll just go with the implant driver as well. And that X clip is staying in there, and because that's going to tell us exactly where we are in the mouth, and you want to make sure that's very stable when you're doing this. Getting the next drill, verifying the position, the length of it using that little tracker there. Go with the next one. It's kind of easier to once you go next in terms of the next size because you already have your pilot. The pilot's the most important one in terms of getting this. Verifying the length of the next drill, go down, and this is my 2.5 here. Again, keeping my finger on the other side of that just to make sure I'm steady. Verifying the length, and then this one is with the implant. Nope, it's not the implant. This must be the 2.8. I think this one is the implant actually. Let's see. Yeah, that one looks like the implant, and so I verified the length of that as well, and I'm just going to go to the depth that I planned it at. Again, using my other hand to make sure it's not moving in terms of any rotational movements as well. So the actual surgery for the implant, from numbing to taking the final CT scan, was about 20 minutes. And so here I'm just trying to put a healing abutment on. There's some bone impingements, so I decided let me put a cover screw on because I don't want to try to do any bone profiling with how thin the bone was. I'll let it just heal up and then see where I'm at when I do the uncovery after healing. But I got a good torque value on it because it's very precise in terms of position and depth. And you can see I'm struggling with that healing abutment, so I switched to a cover screw. And she had a Maryland bridge, so I'll just put back on the Maryland bridge on top of that, and that'll act as a little cushion cover so that way the blood can coagulate and I get a good seal. And so now I'm going to show you the post-op CT scan that I took, and I'll overlay it with what I planned as well. You'll see on the video here. So that's the implant right there. You can see it on the screen. I got a good position threading it through those teeth, very close roots. And then this is the only situation where I would actually do a mini implant, because it's I can make sure it's low load bearing as well. So you can see on the screen here, I put the picture up there of the implant position that I planned, and you can see the implant position I got. So it worked out really well. It's a great system. This whole appointment took less than 45 minutes. So, thanks for watching, and I'll post more videos next time.